Hello, class, and Dr. Martin. I decided to do my interactive assignment for week 5 on the social movement Black Lives Matter. Hashtag Black Lives Matter became a social movement when founder Alicia Garza addressed the Black community on social media saying, "Black people, I love you. I love us. Our lives matter. Black Lives Matter," after the acquittal of George Zimmerman in the shooting of Trayvon Martin. The U.S. has a long history of unfair treatment and discrimination against the Black community, from slavery to segregation to mass incarceration. A few of the most recent police shootings that made headlines in recent years were that of Michael Brown, Eric Gardner, and Walter Scott. This has caused for media outlets across the nation to focus on the brutality of police against the Black community. The tension between Black communities and police officers contribute to the increase of police shootings against African American men and youth. The attacks against African Americans have undeniably wedged a disconnect between communities and law enforcement agencies. The ongoing fatal shootings of unarmed African American men at the hands of police has led activists to the social movement known as Black Lives Matter and gained the attention and support of people across the world. In efforts to justify the wrongful shootings of Black men and adolescents, police and media forged them to be gangsters, drug dealers, or drug addicts, which are violent, and to be considered armed and dangerous, which is not so different from past claims of races having different intelligence to justify colonialism, slavery, racism, and racial genetics. Statistics tell us that 1 of every 3 African American men is likely to go to prison in his lifetime, compared to 1 of every 17 white males. The numbers are similar when comparing females. 1 of every 18 African American women may be expected to serve time in prison, compared to that of every 1 in 111 white women. Social psychology focuses on the power of the situation. It examines how we think about, influence, and relate to one another in certain conditions. Social thinking has the attribution theory. Attribution theory is defined as the theory that can explain someone's behavior by crediting their disposition or the situation at hand. Social influence occurs when a person's emotions, opinions, or behaviors are affected by others. Social influence takes many forms such as conformity, socialization, peer pressure, obedience, leadership, and persuasion. Psychologist Albert Bandura developed a theory called reciprocal determinism, which explains how we act is influenced by environment, individual characteristics, and behavior. In police shootings, white officers might have preconceived ideas of African Americans, which could have been learned in childhood and adolescence from their environment. Being a police officer means you have authority and you carry a gun, so this presents a feeling of power. The role of someone with power and authority changes the behavior of an individual, which is the outcome in many police shootings. The combined effects of individual actions can have a profound effect on society. For example, police brutality, stereotyping, and prejudiced behavior against African Americans, all of which have a profound effect on communities. Communities lose their trust in their local law enforcement departments, and cities become divided. It turns into us versus them, and one of the outcomes of the community's frustration is social action, like the Black Lives Matter movement. Demonstrations of protest against the unjustifiable killings of Black men in hopes that their cause would be heard and the killings of unarmed Black men cease to exist.